The secret base was hidden deep inside a large asteroid in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. From the outside, it looked like just another piece of space rock floating in the darkness. Inside, it was the most advanced research facility humanity had ever built. Dr. Sung Ho Yoon walked through the main corridor, looking at the alien ship through the huge windows. 3 months had passed since Captain Hyun Woo, Kim brought the Vorthak vessel to Earth. 3 months of the most intense scientific work in human history. Sung Ho had once designed weapons for Earth's military. But after seeing the destruction those weapons could cause, he had stopped. He became a teacher instead, trying to help people build things rather than destroy them. Now, looking at the alien technology, he knew he had to return to his old work. The survival of humanity depended on it. Dr. Yoon called Commander Mi Young Kang, the military officer in charge of security. The morning briefing is starting. The briefing room was full of Earth's smartest people. Scientists, engineers, computer experts, and military officers from every nation had come to work on the project. They all knew that time was running out. Status report, Commander Kang said as everyone sat down. Jin Woo Nam, the computer expert, spoke first. We have translated about 60% of the Vorthak computer files. The good news is that their security systems are not very strong. They never expected anyone to capture one of their ships. What about their technology? Commander Kang asked. Hye Jin Lim, the material scientist, stood up. She looked tired. All of them looked tired. The alien metals are incredible. They are stronger than anything we have ever made, but also lighter, and they can conduct energy in ways that should be impossible. She showed pictures on the big screen. Look at this. The Vorthak hull material can absorb energy weapons and turn that energy into power for their own systems. When you shoot at them, you actually make them stronger. Everyone in the room went quiet. This was bad news. Human weapons used energy beams and explosive missiles. If Vorthak ships could absorb energy attacks, human fleets would be almost helpless. But we found something interesting, Hyojin continued. The material has a weakness. If you hit it with the right frequency of energy, it becomes unstable. The problem is finding that frequency for each ship. Dr. Sung Ho raised his hand. What about their weapons? What can we learn from those? That's the scary part, Jin Woo said. Their weapons are designed to destroy entire planets, not just cities or countries, entire worlds. They can crack a planet's crust from orbit. Commander Kang looked grim. How many ships are coming? Based on the files, at least 12 large warships, Jin Woo answered. Each one is bigger than our largest space station. Each one carries enough firepower to destroy Earth's entire military. The room was silent again. 12 ships like the one they were studying would be more than enough to wipe out humanity. However, Dr. Sung Ho said, we have advantages they don't know about. Everyone looked at him. First, they think we are still primitive. The files show they expect to find humans using nuclear weapons and chemical rockets. They don't know how much our technology has grown in 50 years. What else? Commander Kang asked. We think differently than they do, Sung Ho explained. The Vorthak build their technology for individuals. Their ships are controlled by single commanders. Their weapons are designed for one-on-one combat. But humans work as teams. We can build systems that link together and share information. Hyojin nodded. We've been studying their computer systems. They're very advanced, but they don't network well with each other. Each Vorthak ship is like a separate fortress. That's their weakness, Jin Woo added. Human computer systems are designed to work together. We can build a network that connects all our ships and weapons. The Vorthak won't understand how to fight against a coordinated defense. Over the following weeks, the research teams made amazing discoveries. The Vorthak used something called quantum manipulation to power their ships. This technology could bend the laws of physics in small ways, making their vessels faster and stronger than anything humans had built. But human scientists found ways to improve on the alien designs. Where the Vorthak built for power, humans built for efficiency. Where aliens made single powerful systems, humans created networks of smaller systems working together. The breakthrough came when Jin Woo discovered that human brain patterns could interface directly with modified Vorthak computers. The aliens had never thought of this because their brains worked differently. But humans could think in ways that made the alien technology work even better. Look at this, Jin Woo said excitedly, showing his discovery to the team. When a human pilot connects to a Vorthak control system, the ship becomes twice as fast and 3 times more maneuverable. How is that possible? Dr. Sung-ho asked. The Vorthak think in straight lines, Jin-woo explained. Their military tactics are based on overwhelming force applied directly. But humans think creatively. We can see solutions they would never imagine. The first test flight was scheduled for the following week. They had built a small fighter using Vorthak technology modified with human improvements. Tae-ho Lee, the pilot from Captain Hyun-woo's crew, volunteered to fly it. Are you sure about this? Commander Kang asked him. We don't know if the interface is safe for human minds. I'm sure, Tae-ho said. Besides, someone has to test it. Better me than someone with a family waiting at home. The test ship looked strange. It had the flowing curves of Vorthak design, but with human modifications added. Extra communication systems, backup controls, and emergency systems that could work if the alien technology failed. Tae-ho climbed into the pilot's seat and connected the neural interface to his brain. For a moment his eyes went wide and he didn't move. Then he smiled. This is incredible, he said over the radio. I can feel the ship. It's like the ship and I are the same thing. The test flight was amazing. Tae-ho made the ship do things that should have been impossible. He flew it through an asteroid field at incredible speed, never hitting anything. He made turns that should have torn the ship apart, but the alien technology held together. How does it feel? Dr. Sung-ho asked over the radio. Like flying in a dream, Tae-ho answered. The ship responds to my thoughts before I even know what I want to do. And the weapons. He fired a practice shot at a target asteroid. The beam was more powerful than anything in the human military, but the best part came when they tested the ship against simulated Vorthak tactics. The computer created a battle scenario using everything they knew about alien fighting methods. Tae-ho destroyed the simulated enemy ships easily. How did you do that? Commander Kang asked after the test. The Vorthak fly like they're driving trucks, Tae-ho explained. Straight lines, simple maneuvers, overwhelming force. But this ship can do things they never imagined. I can attack from above and below at the same time. I can be in 3 different places in the same second. The success of the test flight changed everything. Within days, construction began on a small fleet of hybrid human Vorthak fighters. Each ship was unique, built around the skills and personality of its pilot. Meanwhile, other teams worked on larger projects. They were building weapons that could hurt Vorthak ships, defense systems that could protect Earth's cities, communication networks that could coordinate the entire human military as one large machine. But the most important discovery came from studying Vorthak culture and history. Jin-woo found files that showed the aliens had been conquering other worlds for thousands of years. They always used the same tactics. They would arrive with overwhelming force, demand surrender, and then destroy anyone who resisted. They've never fought an enemy that fought back intelligently, Jin-woo explained to the team. Every species they conquered either gave up immediately or fought with simple tactics. They don't know how to handle an enemy that thinks differently than they do. Dr. Sung-ho realized this was humanity's greatest weapon, not the alien technology they had learned to use, not the new ships and weapons they were building, but the human ability to think in ways the Vorthak could not predict. We're not going to fight them the way they expect, he announced to the research teams. We're going to fight them in ways they've never seen before. The work continued day and night. Human engineers took Vorthak designs and made them better. Human pilots learned to fly alien ships with impossible skill. Human tacticians developed battle plans that would confuse and overwhelm the enemy. 6 months after the discovery of the alien ship, humanity was ready. They had a small fleet of hybrid vessels that were superior to original Vorthak technology. They had weapons that could penetrate alien defenses. Most importantly, they had people who understood that the greatest advantage in any fight was being underestimated by your enemy. Commander Kang stood in the control room, looking at displays showing Earth's new defenses. Hidden bases throughout the solar system, ships that looked like asteroids or space debris, weapon platforms that could appear from nowhere and strike without warning. Do you think we're ready? She asked Dr. Sung-ho. No, he answered honestly. We're outnumbered and outgunned. But we have something the Vorthak don't have. What's that? 50 years of human innovation that they know nothing about. And the willingness to fight for our home in ways they cannot imagine. Captain Hyun-woo Kim stared at the massive shape floating in space through his ship's main window. The object was huge, bigger than any human ship he had ever seen. It looked like it was made of dark metal that seemed to eat the light from nearby stars. What do you think it is, Captain? Asked So-min Park, his chief science officer. She was young but very smart. Her eyes were wide as she looked at the strange ship. Hyunwoo had been flying salvage missions for 20 years. He had seen many broken ships floating in space. But this was different. The ship was not human. The shape was all wrong. Human ships were built with straight lines and simple curves. This ship looked like it grew instead of being built. "I don't know," Hyunwoo said quietly. "But we're going to find out." His ship, the New Soul, was small compared to the alien vessel. The New Soul was built for salvage work. It had strong arms to grab broken ships and powerful engines to pull heavy things through space. The crew was only 12 people, but they were good at their jobs. Tae-ho Lee, the pilot, moved his hands over the controls. He was the youngest member of the crew, only 25 years old. But he could fly better than anyone Hyunwoo had ever seen. "Should I get us closer, Captain?" "Slowly," Hyunwoo said. Very slowly. The alien ship did not move as they got closer. There were no lights on it, no signals coming from it. It looked dead, floating like a giant metal tomb in the darkness of space. Ji-eun Choi sat at the communication station. She had been trying to contact the ship for the past hour. "Still nothing, Captain. No radio signals. No computer signals. Nothing at all. The ship was damaged." Hyunwoo could see huge holes in its side. Some parts looked like they had been melted by powerful weapons. Other parts were simply gone, leaving twisted metal behind. "Look at those weapon marks," So-min said, pointing at the damage. "Whatever hit this ship was very powerful. Much more powerful than anything we have." Hyunwoo nodded. Earth's weapons were strong, but not that strong. The holes in the alien ship looked like they were made by weapons that could destroy entire cities. "Captain," Tae-ho said, his voice excited, "I'm reading air inside parts of the ship. Some sections are still sealed. Any life signs?" Hyunwoo asked. So-min checked her instruments. "No, nothing alive on that ship. But the air means we might be able to go inside." Hyunwoo thought about this. Going inside an alien ship was dangerous. They did not know what they might find. But this was the chance of a lifetime. Humans had never found alien technology before. This could change everything. "We're going aboard," he decided. "Tae-ho, dock us to that big hole in their side. So-min, Ji-eun, get your suits ready. We're going to see what's inside." The docking took 30 minutes. The alien ship was so big that finding a good place to attach was hard. Finally, Tae-ho managed to connect the New Soul to what looked like a loading bay. Hyunwoo, So-min, and Ji-eun put on their spacesuits and checked their equipment. They carried lights, computers, and emergency air supplies. They also carried weapons, just in case. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. The first thing Hyunwoo noticed was the smell. Even through his suit's filters, he could smell something strange. It was not unpleasant, just different. The inside of the alien ship was amazing. The walls curved in strange ways that made no sense to human eyes. Everything was made of the same dark metal as the outside. But here and there, strange symbols glowed with soft blue light. "Look at this," So-min whispered. She was examining a wall panel covered with alien writing. "The symbols are beautiful, but I have no idea what they mean." They walked deeper into the ship. Their lights showed rooms filled with equipment that looked nothing like human technology. Some machines were still working, making soft humming sounds. "How big is this ship?" Ji-eun asked. "My scans show it's about 5 kilometers long," So-min answered. "That's bigger than most human space stations." They found what looked like a control room. It was huge, with walls covered in strange displays and controls. In the center was a chair that looked like it was built for someone much larger than a human. "Look at the size of that chair," Hyunwoo said. "Whatever built this ship was big. Maybe 3 meters tall." Ji-eun was examining some equipment near the wall. "Captain, I think this might be their computer system." "It's still working," so Min hurried over. She was the expert on computers and alien technology. She studied the glowing panels for several minutes. "This is incredible," she said. "The computer is still active, and I think I can access some of its data." She connected her portable computer to the alien system. It took almost an hour, but finally she smiled. "I'm in," she said. "The computer has translation software. I can read some of their files." What they found in those files changed everything. The ship belonged to something called the Vorthak Empire. The Vorthak were a powerful race that controlled many star systems. This ship was a scout vessel. Its job was to find new worlds to conquer. "Look at this," So-min said, her voice shaking. "They came to our solar system 50 years ago. They studied Earth. They studied us." The files contained detailed information about Earth, about human cities, human weapons, human population. The Vorthak had watched humanity for years without humans knowing they were there, but the worst part was still to come. Oh no. So-Min whispered as she read more files. Captain, you need to see this. The files showed Vorthak military plans. Earth was marked for something called cleansing operations. The Vorthak planned to kill every human on the planet. They wanted Earth's resources, but they did not want the humans who lived there. When? Hyunwoo asked, his voice cold. The files are 50 years old, So-Min said, but they mention follow-up missions. Invasion fleets. Captain, I think more of their ships are coming. Jiun found more bad news in the communication logs. The Vorthak think humans are weak. They call us soft targets. They believe we cannot fight back against their technology. Hyunwoo felt anger growing in his chest. These aliens had watched his people for years. They had made plans to kill everyone he had ever known, and they thought humans would just give up without a fight. What happened to this ship? He asked. Why is it damaged? So-Min found those answers too. The Vorthak scout ship had been attacked by another alien race called the Cathani. The battle had damaged the Vorthak ship so badly that the crew had to abandon it. The Cathani saved us without knowing it, So-Min said. If this ship had made it back to Vorthak space, the invasion might have started years ago. But the invasion was still coming. The files showed that the Vorthak Empire had many ships and many weapons. They had conquered dozens of other worlds. They were very good at destroying civilizations. How long do we have? Hyunwoo asked. I don't know, So-Min admitted. Maybe months. Maybe years. But they are coming. They spent 6 more hours on the alien ship copying every file they could find. They took pictures of the technology and the weapons. They even found the body of one of the Vorthak crew members. The alien was huge, just as they had guessed. 3 meters tall with gray skin and 6 arms. It had died when the ship lost air during the battle. But even dead, it looked dangerous. Finally, they returned to the New Sol. Hyunwoo called his crew together and told them what they had found. The reaction was shock, then fear, then anger. What do we do, Captain? Taeho asked. Do we warn Earth? We warn Earth, Hyunwoo said. But first, we're taking this ship home with us. The whole ship? Ji-Yun asked. It's huge. Earth needs to see this technology. Our scientists need to study it. If the Vorthak think humans are weak, we're going to prove them wrong. It took 3 days to prepare the alien ship for the journey. They had to seal the holes and restart some of its systems. The New Sol was not strong enough to pull such a massive ship, but the alien vessel still had working engines. As they began the long journey back to Earth, Hyunwoo stood on the bridge looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, an alien empire was planning to destroy his world. The Vorthak thought humans were soft and weak. They were about to learn how wrong they were. So-Min, he said to his science officer, how long will it take our best people to understand this technology? I don't know, Captain. Maybe years. Then we better get started, Hyunwoo said. Because when the Vorthak come to Earth, they're going to find that humans can learn very fast. The 2 ships moved through space toward Earth, carrying the most important discovery in human history. Behind them, the empty void of space held no clues about the storm that was coming. But humanity was about to discover that being underestimated was sometimes the greatest advantage of all. Fleet Admiral Dong-Hyun Ryu stood in the command center buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Screens all around him showed the solar system from 1,000 different angles. For 2 years, humanity had prepared for this moment. Now it was here. Contact, announced Lieutenant Yejin Han from her communications station. Multiple large objects entering the outer solar system. Computer confirms 12 Vorthak dreadnoughts. The alien ships were exactly as the captured files had predicted. Each one was 5 kilometers long and bristling with weapons that could destroy cities with single shots. They moved in a perfect formation, like a pack of hunters approaching helpless prey. They're not trying to hide, observed Captain Eunbi Song, commander of the stealth squadron. They expect no resistance at all. Admiral Ryu nodded grimly. The Vorthak ships moved slowly and confidently toward Earth. Their formation was designed for intimidation, not defense. They truly believed humans were too primitive to fight back. Dr. O, are you monitoring their communications? The Admiral asked. Dr. Wu Jin. Oh. The scientist who had learned to decode Vorthak language worked frantically at his station. Yes, sir. They're discussing which human cities to destroy first. They want to make examples to force quick surrender. What cities? Captain Song asked. New York, London, Tokyo, and Beijing, Dr. O replied. They plan to destroy them from orbit to show humanity that resistance is hopeless. Admiral Ryu felt cold anger in his chest. These aliens planned to murder millions of people just to make a point. They thought human lives meant nothing. All stations maintain communication silence, he ordered. Let them get closer. The Vorthak fleet took 3 days to reach Earth's orbital space. They moved slowly, scanning the planet and sending messages demanding immediate surrender. The messages were broadcast on every human communication frequency. People of Earth, the alien commander's translated voice said. Your world has been claimed by the Vorthak Empire. You will submit to our authority or face complete annihilation. You have 24 hours to respond. The response came not from Earth's governments, but from the secret command center. This is Fleet Admiral Donghyun Ryu of Earth Defense Command. He broadcast on all frequencies. Your invasion fleet is not welcome in our solar system. Leave immediately or face the consequences. The Vorthak response was swift and brutal. Energy beams from 3 of their ships struck major cities on Earth. The destruction was terrible. Entire city blocks vanished in seconds. Millions of people died in the first moments of the war. But the attack was also exactly what humanity had expected. Phase 1 defense. Activate now, Admiral Ryu commanded. Hidden bases throughout the solar system came alive. What had looked like asteroids and space debris suddenly revealed themselves as weapons platforms and shield generators. Energy barriers appeared around Earth's remaining cities. Point defense systems shot down incoming Vorthak missiles. The alien ships found themselves facing return fire from directions they hadn't expected. Human weapons, built using captured Vorthak technology but improved with human innovation, struck back with deadly accuracy. Impossible, came the translated voice of the Vorthak commander. These primitives should not have such weapons. 3 Vorthak ships were damaged in the first exchange of fire, not destroyed but hurt badly enough to fall out of formation. The aliens had never faced opponents who could match their firepower. Phase 2. Deploy stealth squadron, Admiral Ryu ordered. Captain Song led 12 small ships that were invisible to Vorthak sensors. Using human stealth technology combined with alien power systems, they could appear right next to enemy vessels without being detected. Stealth Alpha. Beginning attack run on Target 1, Captain Song reported calmly. Her ship materialized next to a Vorthak dreadnought and fired directly into its engine section. The alien ship shuddered and began spinning out of control. Before the Vorthak could respond, the human ship vanished again. How are they doing this? The alien commander demanded over the radio. Our sensors show nothing. Within an hour, 6 Vorthak ships were damaged or destroyed. The remaining aliens tried to retreat to a safer distance, but human forces followed them. Ships that should have been impossible for humans to operate tore through Vorthak formations like hunting wolves. This is not the same species we surveyed, the Vorthak commander transmitted to his fleet. These humans have learned our technology. But humanity's greatest advantage was not their new weapons. It was their tactics. Every human pilot had trained to fight in ways the Vorthak could not predict. They attacked from multiple directions at once. They used the enemy's expectations against them. Tae-Ho Lee flew his hybrid fighter with impossible skill. The ship responded to his thoughts, making maneuvers that violated several laws of physics. He attacked a Vorthak cruiser from above, while simultaneously firing on a second ship from below. The aliens couldn't understand how one pilot could be in 2 places at the same time. Human tactics make no sense, came frustrated Vorthak transmissions. They fight like madmen. No, Admiral Ryu said quietly to his staff. We fight like humans. The battle for Luna Colony became the turning point. The Vorthak concentrated their remaining ships for an assault on humanity's moon base. They expected to find a traditional defensive position that they could overwhelm with superior firepower. Instead, they found something they had never encountered in thousands of years of conquest. A defense that adapted faster than they could attack. Human pilots didn't just follow orders. They improvised, creating new tactics in the middle of battle. When one approach didn't work, they tried something else immediately. The rigid Vorthak command structure couldn't keep up with the constant changes. Target the lead ship, ordered Captain Song as her stealth squadron regrouped for another attack. All units, random approach vectors. Don't let them predict our movement patterns. The Vorthak ships tried to protect their commander's vessel, but the human attacks came from too many directions. Small fast fighters appeared and disappeared like ghosts. Larger human ships used the chaos to target Vorthak engines and weapons systems. Dr. O, monitoring alien communications, heard the growing panic in Vorthak transmissions. "Admiral, they're talking about retreat. Their commander is requesting reinforcements from the home fleet." "Not yet," Admiral Ryu decided. "Captain Song, target their communication array. I want to capture some of those ships intact." The next phase of the battle was even more shocking to the Vorthak. Instead of trying to destroy every alien ship, human forces began to capture them. Boarding parties of human soldiers, wearing armor based on alien technology, fought their way onto damaged Vorthak vessels. The aliens discovered that humans were just as dangerous in close combat as they were in space. Human soldiers fought with a combination of advanced weapons and primitive determination that the Vorthak couldn't counter. "These creatures are insane," one captured Vorthak officer was heard saying. "They fight without fear of death." "We fight with something better than fearlessness," replied Master Sergeant Haewon Kim, leader of the boarding teams. "We fight for our families." Within 6 hours of the first attack, the Vorthak invasion had become a disaster for the aliens. 8 of their ships were destroyed or captured. The remaining 4 were trying desperately to escape from the solar system. But Admiral Ryu wasn't finished. "All units, pursue and capture," he ordered. "Don't let any of them escape." The chase lasted another 2 days. Human ships, faster and more maneuverable than their Vorthak opponents, hunted down the fleeing aliens. When the last enemy vessel was captured, humanity had achieved total victory. The final moment came when the Vorthak fleet commander was brought before Admiral Ryu. The alien was 3 meters tall with gray skin and 6 arms. Even defeated, he tried to maintain his arrogance. "You cannot have defeated us," the alien insisted through the translator. "We are the Vorthak Empire. We have conquered 1,000 worlds." "You never fought humans before," Admiral Ryu replied calmly. "That was your mistake." "What will you do with us?" the commander asked. Admiral Ryu smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "We're going to send you home with a message." The message was broadcast on every Vorthak frequency in the galaxy. Lieutenant Han's voice, translated into the alien language, spoke words that would be remembered across the stars. "This is Earth Defense Command speaking to the Vorthak Empire. Your invasion fleet has been destroyed or captured. Your plans to exterminate humanity have failed. We know about your empire's crimes against other species. We know about your plans to cleanse the galaxy of those you consider inferior." The message paused, letting the words sink in. "You made a mistake when you decided to attack Earth. You taught us that we needed better weapons, so we built them. You taught us that we needed better ships, so we built them. You taught us that the galaxy is full of predators who prey on the weak." Another pause. "Now we will teach you what happens when you threaten our home. The human race is no longer hiding on one small planet. We are coming for your empire. We are coming for every Vorthak military installation. We are coming for every species you have enslaved or threatened." "Admiral," Ryu stepped up to the microphone. "This is Fleet Admiral Donghyun Ryu of the Human Defense Fleet. We declare war on the Vorthak Empire and all who support it. Any species that stands against tyranny will find allies." Captain Junho Park stood on the bridge of the human dreadnought Soul's Vengeance, watching through the main screen as his fleet approached the Vorthak military base on Kepler 438b. The base was huge, built into the side of a mountain and protected by powerful energy shields. 6 months had passed since the failed invasion of Earth. 6 months of humanity hunting Vorthak forces across the galaxy. This was the 15th military installation they had found and the largest so far. "Scan results coming in," reported his science officer. "The base contains approximately 50,000 Vorthak soldiers, heavy defensive weapons, and—" She paused, checking her instruments again. "Captain, there are other life signs down there." "Non-Vorthak signatures." Junho felt his stomach tighten. "Other species. Probably slaves or prisoners." This made the attack much more complicated. "Can we tell what species?" he asked. 3 different types," she replied. "The computer is comparing them to our database. One group matches the Cathani, the species that damaged the original scout ship. The others are unknown." Master Sergeant Haewon Kim, the leader of Junho's ground forces, stepped forward. "Captain, if there are prisoners down there, we need to be very careful about how we attack." Junho nodded. This was the problem with fighting the Vorthak. They used other species as shields, forcing their enemies to choose between victory and innocence. But humanity had learned to find a third option. "Navigator Jung, what do we know about this system?" he asked. Bo Rajung, the fleet's expert on alien star charts, brought up a display. "The planet has 2 other species living on it. The Catheni arrived here about a century ago, fleeing Vorthak expansion. There's also a species called the Drenari. Both are listed in Vorthak files as scheduled for elimination. So the Vorthak plan to kill everyone on this planet eventually," Junho said. "That's correct, sir. This base is here to monitor the local species and prepare for final cleansing operations." Junho studied the tactical display. The Vorthak base was heavily defended, but humanity had learned much about alien military tactics. The Vorthak always prepared for direct assault. They never expected more creative approaches. "Sergeant Kim, I want you to take a stealth team down to the planet's surface. Make contact with the local populations. Find out exactly who is being held prisoner and where." "Yes, sir. What about the base?" "We're going to give the Vorthak a choice," Junho said. "Surrender and face justice, or watch their base become a monument to their stupidity." The stealth team landed on the planet's surface 12 hours later. Using hybrid human Vorthak technology, they were invisible to alien sensors. They quickly made contact with Cathani refugees hiding in the planet's forests. The Cathani were tall, thin beings with blue skin and large eyes. They had been fighting the Vorthak for generations, but their technology was not advanced enough to win. When they saw human soldiers appear from nowhere, their first reaction was fear. "We are friends," Sergeant Kim said, using the universal translator. "We are humans from Earth. We are fighting the Vorthak Empire." The Cathani leader, an elder named Vishka, stared at the human soldiers with amazement. "Humans? But the Vorthak said your species was destroyed months ago." "The Vorthak lie about many things," Sergeant Kim replied. "We destroyed their invasion fleet. Now we are hunting down their military bases." Vishka's large eyes grew even wider. "You defeated a Vorthak invasion fleet? How is this possible?" "We learned to use their own technology against them," Kim explained. "But we need your help. There are prisoners in that mountain base. We need to rescue them without getting them killed." The Cathani were eager to help. They had lost many friends and family members to Vorthak raids. They knew the layout of the base and the patterns of the guards. "The prisoners are kept in the lower levels," Vishka explained. "Mostly young Cathani and Drenari who were taken for experimentation. The Vorthak study other species to find better ways to kill them." Sergeant Kim felt familiar anger rising in his chest. The Vorthak didn't just conquer other species. They tortured them, studied them, and then exterminated them like insects. This was not warfare. This was systematic evil. "How many prisoners?" he asked. "Maybe 2,000, Vishka replied. "But the base is heavily guarded. The Vorthak have weapons that can collapse the entire mountain if they are attacked." "Leave that to us," Kim said. "Humans specialize in impossible rescues." The plan that Captain Park developed was typically human. Complex, risky, and completely unexpected. Instead of attacking the base directly, he decided to give the Vorthak exactly what they feared most: a fair fight. "Open communications with the base," he ordered. "Let me speak to their commander." The Vorthak base commander appeared on screen. Like all his species, he was large and intimidating, with gray skin and 6 powerful arms. But Junho could see fear in the alien's eyes. "I am Commander Thekvar of the Vorthak Empire," the alien announced. "You will surrender immediately or be destroyed." "I am Captain Junho Park of the Human Defense Fleet," Junho replied calmly. "You are holding prisoners from local species. Release them immediately." "Impossible," Thekvar snarled. "These creatures are property of the Empire. They are being used for important research." "Research into better ways to commit genocide," Junho said. "We know about your cleansing operations. We know about your plans to exterminate dozens of species." The Vorthak commander's face showed surprise. "How do you know about classified operations?" "We captured your invasion fleet, remember? We have all your files. We know about everything you've done and everything you plan to do." Thekvar tried to regain his composure. "It does not matter what you know. This base is impregnable. You cannot rescue your precious prisoners without killing them yourself." "Actually, we can," Junho said with a slight smile. "We're going to give you a demonstration of human military doctrine." What happened next became legendary among the species of the galaxy. Instead of attacking the base with overwhelming force, the human fleet simply surrounded it. Then they began broadcasting something the Vorthak had never heard before: the truth. "This is Captain Park speaking to all Vorthak soldiers in the base below," his voice echoed across the planet. "Your empire has lied to you. They told you that other species are inferior and deserve to die. They told you that the Vorthak are superior to all other life forms." The transmission continued. "But your invasion fleet was destroyed by the inferior humans they planned to exterminate. Your superior technology has been captured and improved by primitive Earth scientists. Your 1,000-year empire is now at war with species they thought were too weak to fight back." Dr. Chan Wu Seo, the fleet's medical officer, who had become famous for treating wounded soldiers from dozens of different species, added his voice to the broadcast. "Vorthak soldiers, you have been told that other species are diseased or corrupted. I have treated Cathani wounded and Dranari sick. Their blood is red like yours. Their hearts beat with love for their families like yours. They feel pain and fear and hope just like you do." The psychological warfare was something the Vorthak had never experienced. Their empire was built on the idea that they were naturally superior to all other life. Hearing that they had been defeated by inferior species was more damaging than any weapon. Inside the base, Vorthak soldiers began to question their orders for the first time in their lives. Some of them had fought the human fleet above Earth and seen impossible things: ships that appeared and disappeared, pilots who could be in multiple places at once, weapons that turned their own technology against them. Meanwhile, Sergeant Kim's ground teams were infiltrating the base through maintenance tunnels that Cathani had shown them. Human soldiers working with local fighters who knew every passage and hidden route moved through the installation like ghosts. "Prisoner level secure," Kim reported over his communications device. "Beginning evacuation of civilians." The rescue operation took 6 hours. Human soldiers and local fighters worked together to move 2,000 prisoners out of the base without alerting the guards. It was precision work that required perfect timing and absolute trust between species who had never worked together before. When Commander Thekvar finally realized what was happening, the prisoners were already safe. "Impossible!" he raged over the communication system. "Our security systems show no breaches. Your security systems were designed to watch for Vorthak tactics," Captain Park replied. "We don't use Vorthak tactics." The base commander faced a choice. He could detonate the mountain and kill all his own soldiers, or he could surrender. For the first time in Vorthak history, a military commander chose surrender over death. "We yield," Thekvar transmitted, "but the Empire will send more fleets. You cannot fight the entire Vorthak military." "Watch us," Captain Park replied. The capture of the Kepler 438b base was the 15th Vorthak installation to fall to human forces. Each victory brought new allies and new information about the Empire's activities. Species that had been hiding from Vorthak expansion for centuries began to hope that freedom was possible. The Cathani and Dranari were the first to officially join the human-led alliance. Their ships were small and their weapons were weak, but they brought something more valuable: knowledge of Vorthak operations throughout the galaxy. "There are dozens of species fighting the Empire," Vishka explained to Captain Park. Supreme Commander Kyung-Soo Lee stood on the command deck of the massive human dreadnought Inchen's Justice, watching the final approach to the Vorthak home system. Around him, the largest fleet in galactic history prepared for the battle that would end 1,000 years of tyranny. 2 years had passed since the hunt began. 2 years of liberation campaigns across the galaxy. The human-led coalition now included over 100 different species, all united in their determination to end Vorthak rule forever. "Fleet status report," Commander Lee requested. Captain Hyo-sung Kim, daughter of the salvage captain who had started it all, read from her displays. "Coalition forces number 8,000 ships from 63 different species. Human vessels account for 2,000 ships. All Allied fleets report ready for final operations." The diversity of the fleet was amazing to see. Cathani cruisers with their distinctive blue hulls flew alongside Dranari fighters that looked like flying crystals. Ships from species that had been enemies for centuries now worked together under human coordination. "What about the Vorthak home fleet?" Lee asked. "Intelligence reports 3,000 ships defending the capital system," replied Dr. Sujin Bayek, the philosopher-scientist who had helped plan the post-war galactic government. "But many of their outlying forces have surrendered or joined the rebellion. The Empire is collapsing from within." Commander Lee nodded. "The Vorthak military machine built on fear and absolute obedience had not adapted well to prolonged resistance. When their aura of invincibility was broken, many of their subject species had risen in rebellion. "Ambassador Yu, any response to our final ultimatum?" Li asked. Ambassador Minho Yu, the diplomat who had spent months negotiating with species across the galaxy, shook his head. The Vorthak Emperor refuses to surrender. He claims that superior individual strength will always triumph over what he calls inferior cooperation. "Then he's about to learn how wrong he is," Li replied grimly. The Vorthak home system was a fortress built over centuries. Massive orbital platforms surrounded the capital planet. Space stations armed with planet-killing weapons guarded every approach route. Minefields and defense networks created layers of protection that had never been breached. But humanity had learned something the Vorthak never expected. Sometimes the best way to take a fortress was not to attack it directly. "All fleet units, begin Phase 1 operations," Commander Li ordered. Instead of charging toward the heavily defended capital, the coalition fleet split into hundreds of smaller groups. They scattered throughout the system, attacking supply lines, communication stations, and support facilities. The Vorthak defenders found themselves fighting dozens of separate battles across millions of kilometers of space. Their command structure, designed for controlling massive fleets in single engagements, could not coordinate responses to so many simultaneous attacks. "This is impossible," came the translated voice of a Vorthak fleet commander. "No species fights this way. Humans do," replied Captain Kim as her squadron destroyed a major ammunition depot. "And we taught our friends how to do it too." The battle that followed was unlike anything in recorded galactic history. The Vorthak, with their superior individual ships and weapons, should have been able to defeat any single enemy force. But they were not fighting single enemy forces. They were fighting a coordinated network of allies who shared information instantly and adapted their tactics in real time. Human computer systems, originally designed to link Earth's defenses, now connected ships from across the galaxy. A Cathani pilot could see through the sensors of a Drenari fighter on the other side of the battle. A human commander could coordinate attacks by species who had never worked together before. "Target the command station," ordered Supreme Commander Li. "All units, begin convergence on the capital planet." The assault on the Vorthak capital was the culmination of everything humanity had learned about warfare. Ships appeared from hyperspace in perfect coordination, striking exactly where and when they were needed. The famous Vorthak defense networks found themselves fighting an enemy that was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But the most shocking moment came when the coalition forces reached the planet's surface. Instead of bombarding cities from orbit, human forces did something the Vorthak could not understand. They protected civilian populations while targeting only military installations. "All ground units, remember the rules of engagement." Master Sergeant Kim commanded his diverse force of soldiers from 30 different species, military targets only. "Any unit that harms civilians will answer to me personally." The Vorthak military, faced with enemies who refused to use their own tactics of terror and intimidation, found themselves outmatched in ways they had never imagined. Coalition forces moved through their cities like precision instruments, dismantling military infrastructure while leaving hospitals and schools untouched. In the Imperial Palace, the Vorthak Emperor gathered his personal guard for a final stand. He was the largest and strongest of his species, a warrior who had conquered dozens of worlds in personal combat. "These inferior beings think their cooperation makes them strong," he declared to his followers. "I will show them that individual supremacy is the only truth in the universe." The final confrontation took place in the Emperor's throne room. Supreme Commander Li entered with a small guard of human and allied soldiers. The Vorthak Emperor, twice as tall as any human and armed with weapons that could slice through starship hulls, prepared for single combat. "I am Emperor Vrakthul," the alien announced, "conqueror of 1,000 worlds. I challenge you to honorable combat, human leader." Commander Li looked up at the massive alien and smiled sadly. "Your Majesty, you still don't understand what you're fighting. I am fighting weak creatures who hide behind numbers instead of facing their betters," the Emperor snarled. "No," Li replied. "You're fighting an idea. The idea that different species can work together. The idea that cooperation is stronger than domination. The idea that protecting the innocent is more important than proving individual strength." The Emperor raised his weapon. Ideas cannot stop superior force. Watch them try, Li said quietly. What happened next became the most famous moment in galactic history. The Vorthak Emperor, the greatest individual warrior of his species, attacked with all his strength and skill, but he was not fighting just Supreme Commander, Li. He was fighting a coordinated team of soldiers who moved and fought as one. Organism human soldiers provided cover fire while Cathani, fighters, attacked from the flanks. Drenari warriors used their unique abilities to anticipate the Emperor's moves, while other species contributed their own special skills. The Emperor found himself facing not one enemy, but a living example of everything he had tried to destroy. The battle was brief. Individual strength, no matter how great, could not overcome perfect cooperation. The Emperor fell not to superior force but to superior coordination. How? The dying Emperor whispered.
How do inferior beings defeat the strong?
We're not inferior, Commander Li replied. We're different. And different doesn't mean worse. With the fall of their Emperor, Vorthak resistance collapsed throughout the system. Military commanders who had never considered surrender suddenly found themselves negotiating with coalition forces. The empire that had ruled the galaxy for a millennium ended not with a massive explosion, but with a simple choice: join the new galactic community or be left behind by history. In the months that followed, the hardest part was not winning the war but building the peace. Dr. Beck worked with representatives from hundreds of species to create a new form of galactic government based on cooperation rather than domination. The challenge, she explained to the Constitutional Convention, is creating a system where every species has a voice, but no species can dominate the others. The solution was uniquely human, a federation where each species contributed according to their abilities and received according to their needs. The Cathani, with their ancient wisdom, became counselors and judges. The Drenari, with their artistic vision, designed new cities and space stations. Even former Vorthak worlds were welcomed into the Federation once they demonstrated commitment to peaceful cooperation. What about the Vorthak themselves? Asked Ambassador Yu during one planning session. What do we do with the survivors of the Empire? We give them the same choice we gave everyone else, Commander Li replied. Join us in building something better, or be left alone to think about what they've lost. Many Vorthak chose integration. Without their empire's doctrine of superiority, they discovered they could contribute to galactic civilization in positive ways. Some became guards and peacekeepers, using their physical strength to protect weaker species. Others became engineers, applying their technical knowledge to peaceful projects. The memorial service for Captain Hyun-woo Kim was held 50 years after the discovery of the first Vorthak ship. Representatives from across the galaxy gathered to honor the man whose curiosity had started the chain of events that freed them all. His granddaughter, now a captain in the Galactic Federation fleet, spoke the final words of remembrance. My grandfather taught us that the greatest discovery was not alien technology. It was not new weapons or faster ships. The greatest discovery was learning what we could become when we chose to be worthy of the stars.